You wake up in Santa Clara Valley in 1975. You own nothing. No money, no job, no degree that anyone here respects. Around you there are apricot orchards, miles of them. People still call this place the Valley of Heart's Delight. The name Silicon Valley has only been in print for 4 years. In a trade paper, almost nobody reads. But you know something nobody else knows. The richest companies in human history are about to grow out of this dirt. For everyone else, 1975 is a terrible year. The market has just finished its worst collapse since the Great Depression. Between January 1973 and October 1974, the S&P 500 lost almost half of its value. Nobody wants technology. Nobody wants risk. Nobody wants the future. For you, the next 50 years are already written, so what do you do first? You do not chase the gold. You chase the tools. Because here is the trap. Everyone who dreams about 1975 says the same thing. Buy Apple. But Apple does not exist yet. It will not exist for another 12 months. You cannot buy shares in a company that has not been founded. This is the first rule of arriving early. Being early is not the same as being right. Early money that sits idle is dead money. You need income first, then leverage, then ownership. Start with what your hands can do. In 1975, this valley is desperate for one thing: people who can solder, wire, test, and assemble electronics. Intel is here, founded in 1968, public since 1971. National Semiconductor is here, Fairchild is here, Hewlett-Packard is here, and it is the company every young engineer wants to work for. You take a technician job, not for the salary, for the door it opens, because the real asset in 1975 is not money, it is access. Now use the knowledge. In January 1975, a magazine called Popular Electronics puts a small metal box on its cover, the Altair 8800. It is built by a tiny company in Albuquerque called MITS. The kit costs $397. It has no screen, no keyboard. You program it with switches, and it answers you with blinking lights. Serious engineers laugh at it. You do not laugh. You know exactly what that box is. It is the beginning of the personal computer. Order one immediately. On March 5th, 1975, about 30 people crowd into a garage in Menlo Park. It is the first meeting of the Homebrew Computer Club. 2 of the people there matter more than everything else in this simulation. One is a shy Hewlett-Packard engineer named Steve Wozniak. The other is his restless friend, Steve Jobs. You are in that garage. You bring your Altair. You say almost nothing. Because your advantage is not that you can build better. Your advantage is that you know who wins. Wozniak is designing a computer on paper in his spare time. He offers the design to Hewlett-Packard. Hewlett-Packard says no, again and again. The best company in the valley cannot see what is sitting inside its own engineering department. That rejection is your entry point. Here is your first real decision. It has a risk, a reward, and an alternative. Option 1, stay a salaried technician. Safe. You keep your paycheck. You reach 1980 with savings and nothing else. Option 2, buy semiconductor stock and wait. Reasonable. Intel is public, and its 8080 chip is the brain inside the Altair. Option 3, get equity in the machine before the machine exists. The salary pays your rent. The stock pays returns. Only equity pays generational wealth. You choose option 3, but you do all 3 in the right order. So why not put everything into Intel? Because in 1975, Intel is already a known winner, and known winners are priced. Gordon Moore has already published his law. In 1965, he observed that transistors on a chip were doubling roughly every year. In 1975, he revises it to a doubling every 2 years. The whole industry has read it. There is no secret left in Intel. There is only compounding. So you take your position in Intel, and you leave it completely alone. That is your floor. That is the money you never touch. Then you go find the thing that is not yet priced, because nobody believes in it. April 1976, in a garage on Crist Drive in Los Altos, Apple Computer is founded. 3 men signed: Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and a third man named Ronald Wayne. Wayne receives 10% of the company. 12 days later, he gets frightened of the liability and sells it back. He is paid $800. Later, he accepts $1,500 more, $2,300, for 10% of Apple. You know what that stake becomes. You would pay everything you own to sit in Wayne's chair. So you do. You have no famous name, no venture fund. You have savings, a technician's credibility, and one rare willingness. The willingness to be the person in the room who says yes when everyone else says no. Jobs and Wozniak need money. Wozniak sells his Hewlett-Packard calculator. Jobs sells his Volkswagen bus. Together they raise around $1,300. You offer more, not much more. It does not take much more. Then in July 1976, a man named Paul Terrell, who owns a store called The Bike Shop, does something nobody expects. He orders 50 computers, $500 each, $25,000 cash on delivery. It is the largest order anyone at that table has ever seen. And it creates a brutal problem. They cannot afford the parts. This is what nobody tells you about early wealth. The dangerous moment is not failure. It is success you cannot finance. Your money is ready. You cover the components. You take equity, not interest. Boring capital just bought you a permanent seat. Now watch what happens when real money finally arrives. In 1977, a former Intel executive named Mike Markkula puts $250,000 behind Apple. He takes roughly a third of the company. He is not a genius engineer. He is early and he is willing. That is the entire formula. It always has been. The Apple II ships in 1977. On December 12, 1980, Apple goes public at $22 a share. That single day creates roughly 300 instant millionaires. Meanwhile, hold your intel. Do not celebrate. Do not sell. The chips are the road. The computers are only the cars driving on it. But you are not finished, because the story of this valley is never one company. Rewind slightly. That same year you arrived, in April 1975, two young men write a version of the basic language for the Altair. Their names are Bill Gates and Paul Allen. Their company is called Microsoft. In February 1976, Gates writes an open letter to hobbyists, accusing them of stealing his software. The community is furious. He is 20 years old. He is also completely right about the future. He has understood the one thing the entire valley has missed. The hardware will be copied. The software will be owned. Microsoft goes public on March 13, 1986, at $21 a share. You knew that in 1975, when it was a rounding error in a desert town. And there is one more door, and almost nobody in that garage sees it. In 1976, a young investor named Robert Swanson cold calls a biochemist named Herbert Boyer and asks for 10 minutes. The meeting lasts 3 hours. They found Genentech. On October 14, 1980, Genentech goes public at $35 a share. Within about an hour, it is trading near 88. One of the fastest run-ups Wall Street has ever seen. And it happened because two strangers had one conversation. Now do the arithmetic on your life. Your Intel position, untouched since 1975, compounds through every split, every crash, and every panic. Your Apple equity, bought when the company was 3 men and a wooden bench, becomes a share of the most valuable company on earth. Your Microsoft stake, taken when it was 2 kids and a paper tape, becomes a second empire. Then add the land. In 1975, you buy an orchard lot in Cupertino. Nobody wants it. It grows fruit. Today, that dirt sits inside some of the most expensive commercial real estate in America. Your total position in modern value is comfortably in the billions. But here is the twist, and it is the only part of this that transfers to your real life. You did not win because you knew the names. Everyone in that Menlo Park garage saw the same machine you did. The information was printed on a magazine cover and sold at the newsstand for pocket change. Ronald Wayne held the equity in his hand. He signed it away in 12 days. Hewlett-Packard had Wozniak on the payroll and told him no, over and over. The future was not hidden. It was ignored. You did not win by knowing. You won by staying. You stayed when it was uncomfortable, illiquid, unfashionable, and slow. So look at your own decade. Somewhere near you right now there is a cheap machine that looks like a toy, and a room full of people laughing at it. There is a garage. There is a magazine cover. There is a company worth almost nothing. You are already standing in someone's 1975, so you wake up tomorrow in your own valley, in your own year zero. You own nothing yet. Nobody calls it anything yet. But you know something nobody else knows.